past 50 years, more than 200 people in the US were wrongfully sentenced to death, only to be exonerated later, according to the Death Penalty Information Center. Governments all over the world argue over the most effective ways to punish the most serious crimes. Three options are frequently discussed in the US: life in prison, the death penalty, and rehabilitation. Each provides its own unique moral dilemma and approach to righteousness. This could be hindrance, punishment, or redemption. I believe the most moral and practical substitute for the death penalty is life in prison. It maintains both the possibility of innocence and allows justice to be served. To fully understand why life imprisonment is the most humane alternative, it is important to first stress the risks and inequalities inherent to capital punishment. Life imprisonment ensures justice without the small but real risk of killing an innocent person. The death penalty exposes deep socioeconomic inequalities. Those who are poor often cannot afford skilled or even qualified legal representation, which leaves them more vulnerable to wrongful convictions and harsher sentences. Additionally, the racial imbalance is undeniable, as Black Americans make up an overrepresented amount of those awaiting execution. This is a racial breakdown of the 200 exonerations mentioned earlier. Civil rights attorney Brian Stevenson calls the death penalty the stepchild of lynching. This is a haunting reminder that America's capital punishment system evolved from racial biases, and its residual effects continue to permeate and corrupt verdicts in the forms of state sanctioned killing. Although it is extreme, life in prison allows for accountability, the chance to correct what human error might remain. While life imprisonment isolates dangerous individuals, it leaves open the risk of violence within prisons. Supporters of capital punishment argue that the death penalty is a necessary component of legality. Execution guarantees retribution. This also emphasizes the fact that the death penalty prevents reoffending in every single case. A person who is executed can never harm another victim. As the BBC notes in their ethics guide on sentencing, a perpetrator remains a danger to prison staff and other inmates. Execution would remove that danger. Some families of victims find comfort in seeing the consequences of the crime fully enforced. In this view, severe corrective measures are an acknowledgement of society's duty to protect the innocent, even when the methods raise serious ethical concerns. Though most discussions focus on execution or life sentences for closure, rehabilitation presents a less conventional perspective that could offer long-term benefits for both offenders and their community. In contrast to the United States, Norway's legal system places a strong emphasis on using therapy and education to turn criminals into contributing members of society. Research from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that incarceration in Norway reduces likelihood of reoffending within 5 years by 27 percentage points and increases post-employment by 40 points. Relative poverty, addiction, and lack of opportunity are some of the causes of crime that might be addressed in a way that preserves dignity. The American system places a strong emphasis on harsh conditions and lengthy sentences, which results in feelings of hopelessness and resentment. If the goal of confinement is to make society safer, rehabilitation achieves this far more effectively by transforming offenders into individuals who can reform and reintegrate. We have seen that there are alarming racial injustices and irreversible threats associated with the death penalty. Prison life allows for correction while still enforcing accountability. Rehabilitation helps people recover. Rather than judging law and order by how many lives it ends, we should redefine it by how many it protects. Sentencing offenders to life in prison instead of death upholds humanitarian practices by proving that society can be safe without repeating the cycle of violence.